Hello and good evening to all of us who are watching and who will join us live in a while. Welcome to Purna Wellbeing Samvada, a session where we invite a guest and we explore a particular topic and a theme, a topic that means something to our well-being. So today the topic we are exploring is unmasking relationships. And I'm very, very happy to invite my dear friend and a very well-known psychotherapist and a relationship coach, Sujata Ameya. Hi, Sujata, and welcome.
Thank you,
So,
Deepa. Pleasure to be here again with you.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, just to share something about Sujata, she describes herself as a die-hard romantic who had to deconstruct love. Very interesting, Sujata. As a transpersonal psychotherapist and a relationship coach, she has helped over 14,000 people. Wow. To work with conflict in relationship as a mirror to self and a path to one's purpose. She is the author of When the Beloved Calls, and this is her book. And I was very fortunate to have received it from her last year. This is a personally signed copy, and that makes it very special, Sujata. Thank you. It's a
Thank
collection
you.
of poems and art based which is based on her own personal experience. And those who know her, I mean, the way I knew her initially was she's this person who has constructs, models, and so picture perfect with her words, so well crafted phrases she would use. And this book was I really met her in a very different and a very beautiful, raw, artistic, right-brained fashion, which is such a refreshing change. So this made her complete in my mind. Ye bhi hai, wo bhi hai. So that was very beautiful, Sujata. And I'm sorry I'm saying it, but that's how I felt.
No, no. Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate your transparency and authenticity. Thank you so much.
Yeah. She offers two signature workshops that powerfully evoke uh, many experiential insights in the participants. And they are called the art and science of self-actualization and the art and science of the beloved, which really speaks of her as the right and the left, the art and the science. So nice, very beautiful.
Yes.
So
Thank
today
you.
we are
Thank
here
you so much,
to
Deepa.
uh, today we are here to explore this topic on masks we wear or unmasking in our relationships. And this is a very important topic. And I feel today, and as we were discussing, Sujata and I were discussing some time back, it was very interesting for me to note that this particular flyer on Samvada has reached 3,000 plus people. And I was asking Sujata how it's surprising to me that none of my Samvadas have reached so many people. Why is this happening? Sujata, would you like to share what you shared? It was very powerful for me to listen.
Yeah, I said that this is probably the most alive topic for everyone on earth. The need to belong and the need to feel safe and secure in a relationship. And I think pre-corona there was a certain framework in which we were just going on and life was going on. Now that this has happened, the pandemic has happened, and everything has changed so drastically. We don't have the places where people could go away to. They are right now just in each other's faces. A lot of unaddressed things are coming up, and people are
Yes.
in a state of
Yes.
discovery or strife or dread or some combination of the things. So
Absolutely.
relationships is a evergreen, never die kind of a
Yeah.
topic. So
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
surprised that.
Absolutely. And I agree with you because I personally felt it at the start of Corona. I mean, everybody was around here. It was difficult because I felt like a lack of space. And slowly I started inquiring, what am I uncomfortable with? What in me what's uncomfortable? And I think then this topic became very alive and relevant to me. It was not just a subject of study, but a subject of personal study and self-exploration. So this
Yes.
topic and this conversation is as important to me, Sujata, as it is to the people who are watching us right now live.
Yes. So it is for me. So it is for me. There's a friend I have. She always has, prodded me. She's like, no matter what people say, no matter what people ask, wherever you're invited, whatever it is, you'll always go. You never say no. I said, no, I won't say no, because it is these things that help me focus internally and kind of articulate what is it that I'm learning and absorbing from my client work, and also what have I discovered, how far have I moved from where I was last time in my own personal journey as well. So this is
Very
a
true.
mutual exploration, and this is an exploration for everybody, and I hope
Yeah,
that whatever we discuss adds some value to all the
yeah,
people who are
yeah,
listening in right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you're saying in giving we receive, and you in giving you're receiving.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, beautiful,
absolutely.
beautiful,
Yes,
beautiful.
yes,
So
yes.
you have been an incredible psychotherapist and so well known. You have impacted so many individuals with your workshops and even conversations. And I remember how impacted I felt also when I would have the last time when we had the conversation. So, what has been your journey to be where you are today, Sujata?
Very quickly, I was brought up by my grandparents. So these are people born almost more than a century ago now. They're no more. So we had a home which was less of a, or we had a house which was less of a home and more of a chowl tree, like a
Hmm.
open door
So,
lodge where people just came, stayed, ate, bathed, just hung around. And I don't remember feeling any sense of connection or belonging with anybody in the family, feeling very lost, very invisible, very lonely. And that kind of made me withdraw into my own head, which is what you saw when you met me the first time.
yes,
That doesn't
yes.
mean I didn't have a heart. It
Yeah,
also made me go into my own woundedness and
yeah.
a very deep inquiry about who am I, what
Hmm.
is this world, what are we here for, those kinds of things very early on. Just I was 12,
Hmm.
13, I remember having those thoughts. I think it just became a very natural choice to pursue this line, although it was highly disapproved both by the family and the friends friend circle I had. I was a good student, so everyone assumed I will do either medicine or engineering or one of those good professions, or at least not this mad people's profession, as psychology was known those days. But I'm glad that I did that, and I think it's been just an organic growth. I think I shared this with you last time as well. During my training
Yes.
in Enhance is when I discovered that this thing about marriage, family, and couples has a very strong pull for me. Something
Hmm.
about the nature of this relationship as different from a blood relationship. What
Yes.
is it that makes it tick? How do people connect to each other? What is the hunger? What is the search? What is the journey? I think those things have been big drivers. And
Hmm.
I never will ever tire of acknowledging the deep, deep, deep gratitude and the deep privilege I've had to be completely in on the personal, private, and intimate stories of the thousands of people who have spoken to me. I mean, I think it's just a amazing, amazing grace and blessing there. So I have to admit, and I have no qualms saying this in public, the books I've read that have deeply impacted me, the knowledge I believe I have of whatever life is, all of this is directly absorbed from listening to my clients, a lot more than my own lived life, because I've lived a very, very isolated life, both as a child and also later on, even as an adult. But I think if I know something, if I understand something, it's because I've had access to this rich inner world of all the
Yes.
clients that I've worked with.
So beautiful.
So that is how I'm here doing what I do,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's a
Absolutely.
blessing.
So beautiful. Absolutely right. So if we go into the world of masks, and here we're not talking about the mask we wear to safeguard from corona. I mean, it's just incidental that that's also a mask. But we are talking
Yes,
about the inner drama, the inner psychological masks we put on, And mostly I feel we are unconscious of it. So, and these are the same masks that come up in relationships either with a child or a partner. Can you share about it? What is this world of psychological masks?
Okay, so it's
And
interesting that you're saying
are
this.
these different in different relationships, like with a child and with a partner, with a friend?
Yes. Okay, so you know what? Just to set context, I'd like to just put a few things out clearly so that we
Yeah.
don't get confused in discussing this. So, first of all, let's not mistake masks with two other things: roles and personality patterns. Okay, so personality patterns are something that we develop in response to the kind of upbringing we are having. And most often, those are more or less subconscious or unconscious. Like, I am the way I am. I'm just like that. I'm there. Unless I go on to a self inquiry as to why am I like
Yes.
this. That's a different matter. But typically, the way we turn out in our late teens, early 20s, well into our late 20s, who we are, those personality patterns are involuntary and mostly unconscious unless you go exploring them. So
Yes.
they are different from masks, number one. Number two, roles. Roles are all the, what do you say, socially agreed,
Yeah.
implicit rules about how a particular role shall live or shall
Yeah.
deliver or shall engage with the world. What is a sister supposed to do? What is a brother supposed to do? What is a mother supposed to do? So there are these societal injunctions
Yes.
on what these roles need and
Yes.
demand. So those
Yes.
are roles. Yeah. Masks are more like the corona mask that we are wearing. There is a certain element of voluntariness to it. We can wear it or not wear it. Then there is so therefore we can say that masks are more worn more consciously. They're not unconscious like roles and personality patterns. And also, just like the physical mask, I believe a psychological mask is also worn for the sake of protection. Just as this thing protects, that
Absolutely.
also protects. Now, when
Absolutely.
we speak of
Absolutely.
protection, we're also talking about fear. There is a
Yes.
fear of catching the infection in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
physical world,
Yeah.
and there is a
Yes.
fear of revealing something or seeing something in the
Yeah.
psychological
Yeah.
world.
That's true. That's true.
So,
That's true.
this distinction I just wanted to make, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
to answer your question,
But one thing,
uh,
just before you go
I
ahead,
think.
Sujata, you know why I feel it's not always conscious, because when I looked at my life, I realized that I was wearing the spiritual mask, spiritual bypassing mask, without even aware I was doing it. So that was not a role, that was not a social expectation, but it almost more was stuck to me. I didn't even know I was wearing it to protect until I came to know and then said, "Oh, I'm wearing this mask." So that my
Okay.
question was actually coming
That,
from that space.
that way, yeah. Okay, so let me put it this way. By the way, I hope this makes you feel better. You're not the only one to resort to a spiritual mask, huh? Spiritual bypass mask, as you said. I,
I
I
know.
think with the amount of free floating, good intentioned advice on social media, and no matter where you turn, you say something remotely difficult and you will get a motivational quote in
Correct.
response. That's
Yeah.
the kind of culture we are living in. It is zero empathy, all motivation. Yeah,
Yes.
come on,
Yes. Yes.
you'll do it,
Be
that kind of
positive.
thing. So yeah, be positive. So the tremendous pressure that puts, then naturally you will go into bypassing mode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
one thing. But I think what you're talking about is slightly more subtler, which is, and this is a very, what do you say? It's it's not going to make too many people very happy. But here's the truth. The truth always is difficult. See, when we are incapable of handling something at the level it has to be handled, the mind then makes a slight stretch and then uses a spiritual idea to justify the lack of
Yes.
agency or to
That,
justify the non-responsiveness.
completely agree. Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. So, for example, let's say you've been treating me with disrespect. You've been doing
Yes.
subtle things which are not respectful of me at all.
Mm.
Ideally, if I have done my psychological work, then I should be able to look you in the eye and with kindness and respect speak to you and say that
Mm.
when this happens, it leaves me feeling this way.
Yes, it's not okay.
What is your story of it? Yeah, it's not okay. And can you tell me, like, are you aware and why are you doing this, right?
Yes.
If I can't do it,
Yeah.
Buddhism and Christianity and all the bhakti and everything is very easy, no? No, we are
Yeah.
all one.
Yes.
Love means never having to protest and all such things you will put up. That
Correct.
becomes a mask.
Yes.
That's a general public gigantic mask. That is not any one of us wearing it right now.
So it's the
So
collective unconscious.
it's a collective. It's a collective unconscious, collective mask it is, really, really. And I think those of us who are on this journey of authentic and genuine personal deep exploration are very few. It's a minority. And I
Mm.
think we are holding the torch, holding the flag, so to speak, so that all of us don't fall into that same abyss of looking and feeling
Yes.
very positive all the time. It doesn't work like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
The
Exactly.
unless you are willing to go into the dungeon, into the unconscious, into the abyss, into the underbelly of whatever there is, it's an incomplete story, and
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah.
awful amount of pressure to be that way. Yeah, and now that we are on to this topic, I want to add one more thing here. This single-handedly is the reason for the intense loneliness that has become an epidemic in the world. Corona is a
Mm.
pandemic. Loneliness was a pandemic much before that. Much before
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
why are you
I
lonely? Because you're not truthful. You're not
Yes.
truthful. And truthful doesn't mean you have to go on the rooftop and announce to everybody. You're
Yeah.
not truthful to yourself, nor are you
Yes.
truthful to the few people that you claim to be close to.
Yeah. So.
How terrible can that be? It just
Yeah.
makes you
Yeah.
miserably lonely. And now,
Absolutely.
then the loneliness may drive you into a true
A
self-expression.
mask.
I hope
Yeah.
so. That be good.
Or
So
cope
that
with a
will
mask,
come out.
or cope
Yes,
with another mask. There are two
another one.
possibilities. Yeah,
Yes,
and you bang on, the loneliness. It is really fear based also. That what will happen to me if I'm lonely? Heaven will fall, and I can't handle that. That feeling is very very scary, and that stops us from being authentic, and that stops us from even removing the mask if we have.
yes,
It's so
yes,
true. It's very true.
yes.
And you earlier talked about lack of agency. Um, you know, actually, when you talked about lack of agency, what came to me in my mind was this helpless inner child, be it mine or be it my clients or be it any of us. When I was helpless then, I did not have an agency. I have not healed that. It's turned into a wound, maybe a trauma. And I carry that into my adulthood, and I still am there helpless because I am hold and I have not worked on that. So
Mhm.
that could be one of the reasons also where we hold our masks so uptight.
Possibly. In some cases, that may be the case. That it is a inbuilt psychological pattern of helplessness based on whatever childhood experience you've had. That may be possible, but many a times it's related to what you just said before you asked this question. Many a times it's related to the fear of losing this current relationship
That's true.
or whatever current engagement. So it's such a oxymoronic, ironic kind of thing. In order to not lose the relationship, you wear a mask, but wearing the mask creates the loneliness that you're afraid of.
Inauthenticity. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a chicken and egg circle that just feeds each other. So, and this is not just about relationships in anything. The one thing that you're trying to avoid, the one thing that you're afraid, and therefore you will do something inauthentic, will definitely manifest. That is just the way it is. It's like what you run away from, you will meet on the way.
Yes,
You know.
absolutely.
So
So
that is
agree.
what it is. Yeah, you're right.
And
So I think some of it is unexplored woundedness from childhood, which remains
yeah,
as a semi-conscious mask for us.
yeah,
And a
yeah,
lot of it is also conscious, where you know that it's not working for you, but you're so scared of rocking the boat. You
yeah.
don't want
That's
to
correct.
push the cart
That's
one way
correct.
or the other.
That's
You know?
correct. That's correct. I have had experiences where uh, uh, the truth has been spoken and the partner has asked, "Did you ever love me, or was it all a game
Mm.
for you?" And
Mm.
that was the moment of truth where you face the truth. Really, did I love? Was it a mask? So what is real? Is the mask real? Am I real? What is real? So have you faced
Mm.
these where people when they have the mask, they really don't know what is real to themselves.
Yeah, yeah. So here I think the example you're giving falls under the masks of roles. Okay.
Hmm.
So many a times we pull on with things, even though internally we feel different, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. So if I ask many of the couples I work with, do you really love your spouse? Most of them can't answer that because they don't want to
Yes.
lie, but they can't answer the truth. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't ask them. I'm making an assumption here. I've not had an ask this question to anyone, but that it's because you don't consider those things, right? And I think in a marriage, it's also fairly pointless to consider that, because this is something I say in talk after talk after talk. Marriage is a separate planet. It has its own rules. It has its own regulations, and I think the idea of fitting love, romance, intimacy, and fulfillment on top of the marital cake is a new idea. I think just in the last 20, 30, 40 years, we are trying to put all kinds of things on that basket. It never was about that.
Funny.
No, it's not funny. It's tragic. It's very tragic because,
Yeah, actually,
see,
I meant
if
that.
if you go if you go with the original idea of a marriage, it was very simple. It was like,
Responsibility.
you look after this one
Yeah,
will give
yeah,
you children,
responsibility. Yeah.
and you all look after each other, and let's have a predictable, secure, safe life. The wife knew exactly what she had to do, the husband knew exactly what he had to do to call it a happening and happy marriage. And now we have all kinds of things on top of it, spiritual evolution and deep intimacy and this and that. A marriage is not meant to deal with all that, yeah, which is why it's falling apart. If
Yeah.
I'm falling apart, how? It's not the youngsters who are walking away from marriage. They're not getting into it only. The older people about
Yeah.
35, 45, 55, all the way to 60, 65. They're saying, I don't even know what I've been doing all my life. At least the last 20,
Yes.
20 25 years, I want to be authentic.
Yes.
So that's a
Yes.
different tragedy of a different kind of mass that has to do with the role delivery of the marital system. The marriage and
Mm.
family are a certain kind of system that demands a certain kind of role play. And if you are
Mm.
willing to play those roles by the rules of the game, you have a nice framed family picture on the wall and also on Facebook. But if you don't play the
Yeah.
game in that way, then you don't have those pictures.
Yeah, and what you're saying actually reminds me of a lot of women have this victim sacrificial martyr mask or persona. I don't know what you call it, it's a mask or a persona or whatever. Sometimes you can say it's a personality pattern. But there are a lot of times today women are waking up with the fact that I don't want to be the sacrificial good. I don't want to sacrifice all the time. So, what do you have to say about it today when you say that the system has given this role to them, an expectation, and when they are waking up today?
So you're talking about women being women wearing the sacrificial mask? Why do they
Yeah.
wear it? What's your
Yeah.
question?
So I have a feeling that they are wearing it because that's an expectation. That's a role. That's a part of the role. But
I see.
today, people
Okay.
are women are saying that's not a part of the role, and they are waking up to it. They're saying, "I'm not going to be the person who is sacrificing," and that also disrupts the system of the family.
Correct.
And there's
Correct.
a
Oh
lot
God.
that happens, and then there's a confusion. There's a lot, and then they're saying, "Is it okay to rock the boat?" But that's not me. And then they talk about authenticity and all of this. So
Yes, yes, yes. Got it, got it. Oh my God, you brought in two gigantic Pandora's boxes into the discussion now.
yeah,
So
yeah,
one is one is the concept of individuation, and one is the
mhm,
concept of integration. So
mhm.
these two
Okay.
things are playing out big time right now in society as we speak. I think there's a collective energy that's
Yes,
driving
yes,
all of
I
this.
see that absolutely.
So, so yeah. So now, when women are questioning some of the rules and the game rules of the game,
Yes.
they are going to say, "But why? But why is this so? But why is that so?" So
Mhm.
obviously, when they ask those questions, some of them are at least asking the questions and leaving it be. Some of them are asking the questions and wanting the answer. Some of them are too scared to ask the question. So there are different stages and grades of all this that is going on. So what happens here is, I use the word individuation to mean
Mhm.
the process by which a
Mhm.
person recognizes how much
Mhm.
of their identity is based on the conditioning they have received, and how much
Yeah,
of their identity is truly what they can say is
yeah,
themselves as an individual.
themselves. Yeah,
Like,
correct.
how much of my is my mom, dad,
Yes,
grandmother,
yes,
teacher, neighbor,
yeah,
aunt,
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
my ideas of God and rules and this and that, and in-laws and society and what all is put upon me as a role. How much of that is that, and what is truly me? Who am I? What am
Yes,
I in the
exactly.
midst of
Correct.
all these roles? Who is
Yeah, who
that
am I in all
one
of this?
person?
Yes.
Who's the one person that connects all these roles? So when you go on that journey, you're going to question every single dress that you wear and decide whether
Yes.
you still want to wear it or not, whether it's fitting you
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
So that process of integration, coming, breaking the umbilical cord with your parents, and really coming into your own as a human being, that is
Yeah.
individuation. Then
Integration.
we
Yes.
have a parallel process, a parallel process, which is integration, which is to do
Mhm.
with the way women and men are raised differently. This
Yeah.
also, every talk I say this. Women
Mhm.
are raised to support. Women are raised to provide, take care, and support. Men are
Mhm.
raised to receive and achieve.
Mhm.
There's a very simple way to put it. It's not that
Mhm.
simplistic,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
typically that is what it is.
Mhm.
So now what's happening is women are supposed to behave like the man in the
Mhm.
workplace. Just
Mhm.
go get it,
Mhm.
yeah, be a man.
Mhm.
And at home, you're supposed to be the woman, which is offer, provide care, and support. So they are messed up pretty badly. That's half the reason why we have so much confusion going on. And so are the
Mhm.
men. The women never relied on the men for fulfilling their emotional needs. The men barely were visible. They were busy fighting wars and collecting food.
Mhm.
Right. And the women's needs were met by other women in the family, in the sorority, in the community. So
Mhm.
now this whole backup system has fallen, and one new role has come up. So there's a lot of confusion. And similarly, men also are tired of having to wear this armor of being strong, stiff upper lip, no emotionality, and
Yes.
being a
Yes.
man, bearing it like a man,
Yes.
just
Yes.
always being this strong person. They're also tired because they also
Yes.
have the need for softness, sensuality, tenderness, affection, everything that is supposedly feminine, right? So
Correct.
they are
Correct.
also on a journey of a deeper exploration. Women are
Mhm.
also doing that.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
therefore, we are going into a process of integrating the disowned or the rejected other gender or other um,
Mhm.
archetype, either the feminine or
Mhm.
the masculine, right? So if
Mhm.
you're a woman, your journey is about integrating the repressed masculine within you. And if you're a man, it's a journey of integrating the repressed feminine within you. So now you have the journey of individuation and the journey of integration, crisscrossing like that. And the center point is the family, is a family. That is where all this drama is unfolding. And that from there it radiates to the workplace and society, and all this Me Too movement and all these kinds of things are coming up because of that. So so therefore, no longer a woman wants to be quiet in the self-sacrificing role. She's not interested in that, because you do, if it's not coming to you naturally, then you're not authentic. If you're not authentic, you are unhappy. The simple
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the role of self-awareness, self-reflection. That's the role that I and you play in this space in humanity. In our roles. It's so beautiful. It's very, very beautiful.
Absolutely. To hold a mirror so that they can see themselves.
Yes. Is it different? Now you talked about family and that integration you talked about. How is it the same logic with friends, with siblings? Family, I would say, I don't know when you define family, what is it? Siblings also. Is it the same principle, or do we wear masks with everybody because we fear loss of that relationship? How is it different in friends and with family and siblings?
Okay, are you saying is this different from family versus non-family? Is that what you're asking?
Non-family. And what is family as per you when you say family?
Okay. Yeah, family actually, see, sociologists have this definition of family of origin, which is the blood family, which is the family you're born, the parents and siblings. That is the family of origin. Then we have then we have the family of marriage, which is the family you create by getting married to a person. Right? That's a family of marriage. So when we say marriage and family, we are talking about the marriage as an initiation into creating a family, or marriage as a process or creating a family. So yes, of course, we are different with each person. In fact, have you noticed, we are different with the same person in the presence of another person.
Yeah.
It's that dynamic. It's that dynamic. So let's say I can hug and kiss and bite the cheeks of my child by myself, but if someone is present, I will not do that. Yeah, so we have all kinds of layers and layers and layers of masks, and part of it also has to do with social protocol, which is fine. It's not necessary that you live without a mask all the time. It's probably not even required. Maybe it will just cause too much chaos. So there is a value for masks, provided we are conscious and we are wearing them with a clear intent, rather than habitually to just deal with some fears. Yeah, so I think that distinction is important.
That's correct. Absolutely. Yeah. Are we fear-based or are we love-based? And are we authentic? Authentically based.
Yes.
That's so beautifully said. So pretty much, having established that masks are important, they're necessary. If conscious, they are healthy actually. And if we wear them, it doesn't stop our individuation, but it aids it, and we continue our journey with them if it's conscious, with the masks if it's conscious. But for those, and today there are a lot of people who are watching it, this will reach many people. So how do you identify that I'm wearing a mask? Okay, I've heard, people may say, I've heard them speaking. I know there's a mask, but how do I even know that I have a mask? So, in relationships or not, but generally, how do I know?
Oh, yeah. That's a big question with a very simple answer. See, if you're feeling a lack of, just being okay, just a sense of some kind of unhappiness, some kind of low mood, some kind of some misery, something. You're not at peace. You're not
Yes.
in the fullness of joy.
Yeah.
You do not experience enthusiasm.
Yes.
You do not experience a sense of matter of fact belonging to where you
Yes.
are.
Yes. Yes.
You
Yes.
do not experience a good feeling towards yourself. You
Yes.
feel hopeless, you feel pessimistic, you feel self-doubt, you feel all these little things, tiny things. They don't
That
have to be a
nudge you.
big self-disorder.
Yeah.
This daily sense of nudge, yes, something that's not okay, that means there is a mask in some place or the other. And usually this is a mask unto yourself. So it's like
Yes.
you are masking something from yourself. That is
Yes.
actually perhaps the biggest reason for this
Yeah.
very subliminal misery that we all go through. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
which we
Yeah.
sometimes justify by saying, oh, anyway, it's not possible to be happy all the time. Yeah, it's not
Yes.
happy to be possible to be happy all the time, but it's possible to be peaceful and joyful
Peaceful.
most of the time.
Yes. That's correct.
Yeah. So, if
Yes.
that's
That's correct.
missing,
Yes.
that means,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that,
Yes.
so that means some mask is operating. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. The message I used to get when I used to feel I'm incongruent. I'm saying something but feeling something else. I'm doing it, but I'm not happy. It's not settled. It feels like it's not me, it's somebody else who's doing it. So there is this incongruence between the outer and the inner. And oftentimes in my silent moments or when I would
Yes.
write my journal, it will come up. And then I'm like, what is real? It's what I said to that person real, or what is inside real? What is telling me is real? Like what you exactly said that, and it would suck
Mm.
me down, like the joy you talked about. It would be missing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Spontaneity, creativity, all of these are interlinked.
Yes.
So all
You
of
have
that
to
will
think
kind
a
of
lot.
go off
Yes.
if you don't. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, beautiful. So the next question, I know it's a very easy question, but so difficult. What is the process of unmasking? Because I think the
Ah,
way to
great.
I know the way to live. I mean, I think we are born to live happier. I mean, we have every right to be happy and energetic and lively and spontaneous and congruent and upright and tall and vibrant, radiant, vivacious, all the right words. We have every right to do that. And
Okay.
so what's that path? What's that route to go that way?
Yeah. Yeah. So nicely put, huh? It's a simple question with a big answer. Very true. so, so here's what I would say. The first step, the very first step would be to acknowledge that we have masks, all of us, some self masks which are even to ourselves internally, and some masks that we wear to the outside world as well. So the first thing is to recognize and acknowledge that this phenomenon of masking exists. That's the first step. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then to consider whether the lack of joy and peace and vibrancy that you're feeling may have something to do with these masks. To explore,
yeah,
to go with a very open minded exploration into that whole inner
yeah,
scape, inner world, to see if that is actually happening. And also to recognize that this is not a defined linear process where we start with, okay, I identified 73 masks and it's going to take me about 19 weeks to get to a maskless state. It is not like that, right? It is not like that at all. So, so it is not a finite nor a linear journey. Please understand that. Yeah. And now, anything about when you about the inner world, it is never finite, it is never linear. It is
yeah,
infinite and it is spiral. Okay. So now, when you are willing to accept these ground rules of how it works, then what happens is you discover a mask, you figure out what it's trying to save you from, you take a deep breath and decide and choose and work on letting go of that thing. And then you wake up the next morning and find another mask. So the process
yeah,
is, ongoing. So be ready
yes,
for that. Be ready for
yeah,
that, number one.
yeah,
And then I think it's a matter of recognizing that as you do more, more will come, more and more mass you will discover. It doesn't mean that you are a hopeless case.
Yeah. Yeah.
It simply means that we are all human, and this
Yeah.
is the kind of masked existence we have, and
Yeah.
that is the fun. That is the fun.
Yeah.
Every day you'll discover something about yourself. How amazing is that? How awesome is
Yeah.
that?
It also says that you're authentic. You're ready to look at the next few that have like you have peeled something and you're ready to see the next one, next layer.
Correct. And also you will meet some of these interesting things on the way. One is this is a classic. You will say, but I thought I finished this last year. How come it's happening again?
Yeah.
Right? But that's because it's a spiral journey. You circle the
Yeah.
same milestones again and again, but at a greater and greater
Depth.
greater
Yeah.
depth, greater understanding, greater
Yes.
insight, greater
Yes.
expansion. So it's
Yeah.
a expanding kind of a journey, right? So that's important. However,
Yeah.
on this, I do want to say that it is important to identify two things very carefully. One is the person who can guide you with this properly, and it
Yes.
is never one
Absolutely.
person. It is never one person. It can be multiple people. It can be books, authors, videos,
Yeah. Yeah.
satsang,
Yeah.
coaches, counselors, therapists, neighbors,
Yeah.
train companions. It doesn't matter who it is. Somebody somewhere will deliver something to you, which is your message, your takeaway, and that will help. So I think it's important to develop the discernment to take what someone is saying and apply it, or to decide that, oh, this doesn't apply to me, let me not just take it.
Yes.
So I think
Yes.
being participative and taking ownership of this journey is very critical. So I would not
Yes.
recommend going looking for this one guru who will salvage you. It doesn't work like that. I think ownership in this path is very, very critical. So one is that, and second is to recognize that this should not become a project that takes
Mm.
that very little leftover joy out of you. This should be a
Mm.
adventure. This should be a
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah.
This should be like a fun thing that you
Yeah.
do every day, and you
Yeah.
meet
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
unpleasant
Yeah.
things on the way, and that's okay. That's part of life.
Yeah.
It happens to everyone.
Yeah.
So to be in a space of openness and acceptance, and pursue the journey rather than having this very strict idea of, by the end of this life I shall be completely maskless. It doesn't work like
Yeah.
that. At
Yeah.
least
It's not a
I don't.
fight.
I haven't experienced that. Yeah, it's not a fight,
It's not a
nor
war.
is it a project to finish. It's nor is it a competition, nor is it
Yeah.
a, like I said, a project. It is a journey. It is a
Yes.
journey, and you keep doing what you can.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
Very
hope
true.
that
So
answers your
beautiful.
question.
Very beautifully put. I think I would like to re-emphasize the importance of working with somebody who can guide you. And the somebody
Yeah.
can be a book. I think it's so important because I think that's what helped me. Otherwise, I would have been like a headless chicken running in circles, not knowing what's the head and the tail. It's so important. I think very beautifully put, Sujata. There is one more aspect that's coming to me, and
So,
I think I'll voice it.
Deepa, hold on
Yes,
that. I just want to add one more thing to this. This is very
yes,
important.
yes,
So, see,
absolutely.
in the process of finding the people, in the process of finding the people who
Yeah,
will help you, finding the right guide or guides, we are saying,
yes, yes,
also be prepared and also expect that you will have many false teachers also.
yeah. That is true.
By
That is true.
false
Yeah.
teachers,
Of course.
by false teachers, what I mean by that is, it will appear like they will have the answer or the map to what we are seeking,
Yes,
but actually they don't have that, but they'll end up teaching you something else.
yes,
And the something else always is discernment.
yes.
Discernment.
Correct.
Vivekam, we say.
Absolute.
That,
Absolutely.
that is the most critical thing we need. And it is by going through
Yes,
repeatedly all the false gurus that you will actually realize who
yes,
the true guru
yes,
is. And
yes,
often that is
yes,
your
yes,
inner voice. It's your inner voice. There's nothing else out there. Yeah.
yes.
So I wanted to
Correct.
just add that. Yeah.
You're saying go through the fire if you have to, and then discernment builds.
Yes.
Yeah. So the other thought that had come to me is that
Ah,
the urge or the
yes, I can.
desire to unmask and to live authentic has to be so strong that you're willing to go through it. If that urge, if you're not tired enough of your lifelessness, of the of the yeah, the non-spontaneous life, all that we described, if you're
Mhm.
not tired enough, there wouldn't be enough
Mhm.
motivation to from within to take that route.
To do that. Yes. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. See, for example, this what you're sharing is reflected also in the way our clients behave. See, I work with people, they start off the first session by saying, your number was given to me in 2003 by my cousin. But, I thought it's okay, but I've come now. And this is like 2018, 2019 we are talking about, right?
Yeah,
So there is the
yeah,
metaphor of the
yeah,
grain in the sand, sand grain in the shoe, right?
mm,
So as long as the grain is not bothering you too much,
yes,
you will keep
that's
walking
correct.
on the same path. You'll
That's
keep
correct.
going. But
That's
the
correct.
but the day that thing causes a really bad, painful red abscess, then you will stop. You will take off the shoe. You will sit somewhere. You will rest your foot, and then you will wonder what to do. That
Yes,
moment is different for
yes,
different people, and
exactly. That,
that is also based on bunch of variables. One is the personality of the person, one is their tolerance for nonsense,
yeah,
one
yeah,
is their tolerance for lack of joy, one
yeah,
is the different roles and responsibilities they have
yes,
on their head, one is the spaciousness in terms of finances and time to devote
yeah,
to this journey. There are so
yeah,
many variables that go into this. So there's no
yeah.
judgment on who's doing
That's
what at what
yeah,
time.
that's correct.
But
That's correct.
yes, the pain, or like I think it is Anais Nin who gave this quote. The 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 pain of remaining a bud is greater than the fear of blooming. That's
Yes,
the moment. That's the
yes.
moment.
Absolutely. Well, very well articulated, Sujata. So, uh, what would be your pearls of wisdom
Yeah.
to deepen intimacy in relationships with or without masks? I mean, with mask consciously or without, if it's even possible. How can we deepen intimacy in relationships?
So this is a slightly slippery kind of a question. Okay. And I think it depends on the strength and resilience of each relationship. So there is no formula for this. There are
Yeah.
different rules and different permutations that work for each relationship,
Yes, that's correct.
right?
That's true.
You're able to hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very
Yeah.
much.
Okay. So I have seen, so I have seen couples where extraordinary amounts of transparency and authenticity is allowed, valued, cherished,
Mm,
encouraged, and
mm,
nurtured. Yeah, because
mm.
both have that kind of strong inner, stability, strong boundaries, and a very strong bonding as well. Yeah.
Yes,
Then there are some relationships which do not have that inner resilience, which have
yes,
not built it for whatever
yes,
reasons.
yes,
And then
yes.
if one partner starts off doing this unmasking business without onboarding the
Exactly.
other one, then
Correct,
it's
correct.
risky. It's very
Yes,
risky.
absolutely.
More than risky, it is disrespectful, because
Mm.
just because I realize I have a mask, I can't go proceed to pull off yours
Mm,
unless you're
mm,
ready to do it. So it's a
mm,
process. It's a process of gently engaging the person, speaking about it, trying to bring them on
yes,
board, and then to hopefully doing this together.
yes.
However, there are many couples where
Yeah,
one
that's
person
ideal. Yeah,
refuses to do it. Then, of course, then it's a whole other story. Yeah. So.
yeah, yeah. So you're saying it is two, I mean, it takes two to clap. So it's that process.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Beautiful. I think it was such an insightful journey into relationships, into masking and unmasking, and a whole lot of other things we explored. Any few words that you would like to share to close this and round it off before we say bye to each other?
Sure, we'll do that. We'll do that. Uh, the This is one of my pet things to say, huh? Because people, I think, are getting lost in this idea.
Hmm.
One in discussions like this, one question that inevitably comes is, "But love is unconditional. Why should we have mass? Why should we not have mass? We should take it off. We should keep it on. All kinds of things."
Hmm. Hmm.
So, my humble learning and offering from the last 29 years of working with
Hmm.
couples and
Hmm.
relationships and marriages and families. Please do not have this simplistic, immature idea that relationships and love are unconditional. They are not. If they were, then there is no meaning to the word interdependence. Okay, so a
Hmm.
relationship by its definition means there is an expectation, there is a give and take, there is a framework, there is a mutuality, and there is an interdependence inbuilt in the definition of the word relationship.
Hmm.
So we started off by talking about bypass mass, spiritual bypass mass. So
Yes.
this
Yes.
unconditional love is a spiritual bypass. It is
Wow.
not reality. So this is one message. The other message that I very strongly want to communicate is that spirituality without psychological work is a fantasy. It's not reality. And psychological work without spiritual moorings or anchoring is flimsy. It can't
Yes.
hold.
Yes.
Psychology by itself can't hold.
Yes. Yes.
Spirituality by itself will take you nowhere.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
need both. You need
Yes.
both. And this is not a linear process. It is not like
Mm.
I complete my psychological journey, then I will go on the spiritual journey. It is not
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
interrelated. Something
Yes.
blows up in your face in the psychological realm that will call you to the spiritual realm. Then something enlightens you in the spiritual realm, which you can bring back to the psychological realm and apply and see in reality, not in
Mm.
ideological pieces of wisdom here and there. It doesn't work
Mm.
like that. So these two would be my parting messages for all concerned.
Wow.
Integrate spirituality and psychological work.
Yes. Yes.
Stay authentic. Do not buy statements. Do not mimic statements. Do not just repeat things you hear and there because you hear from everywhere because they sound nice. Test them. Test them for
Mm.
yourself. If you
Yourself.
know,
Yeah.
then you know. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
just have knowledge, which is of no use.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a
Absolutely.
difference between knowing and knowledge. Knowing is what
Yes.
you need to chase, not
Yes.
not just
Yes. Yes.
knowledge.
Yes. Yes. Because that becomes
So
your
I
truth.
think that's
That's
it. That's what I
your
would
truth.
say.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Lovely. I
Yes,
loved it. I so
absolutely.
believe in it. Lovely, Sujata. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It was fantastic. It's rich with the discussion and being in this stream of self knowledge and self exploration itself is a gift we give ourselves. So thank you for being a part of that stream in this life and otherwise also, Sujata. And thank you very much for for just being there.
Thank you, Deepa. Thank you, Deepa. It's a pleasure. I'm so grateful our
Absolutely.
paths have crossed. I'm so grateful for
Yes.
our friendship and look forward
Absolutely.
to doing more of these conversations
Yes.
because
Absolutely.
I learned so much as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank
Sure.
you.
Sure. Thank
Bye.
you. So I'm going to be,
Bye.
friends, I'm going to be putting the link where if you desire to look at a book and purchase a book, then it will be available too. And all her contacts will be there on this page in the chat box. Thank you so much.